Knowledge is power, and that's why these workshops are so important and so popular. Make a reservation today. Actually, do they need a reservation, Larry, to these? Did you recommend that?
I recommend it in that they can register. They can go to freeworkshop.com at any time and register. It kind of gives you the location, and then you can get there early enough, find out where the restrooms are. We actually have signage for the restrooms at the Hilton Garden Inn. The property's big enough. People always go, "Where's the restroom?"
Well, you've got plenty of room to, if you want to social distance, we understand.
Right.
That's
we
cool.
absolutely do, and we're certainly maintaining all those protocols. But I will tell you, kind of knock on wood, I think we're kind of over that hump as far as, the real big concerns. I mean, we're still mindful, we're still respectful and all of that, but the crowds have definitely been coming back up since September. And so I think in that regard, everybody's pretty much in a very good place. So it's a good thing. Because, the thing is, the Salvation Army, need has no season. Well, neither does the issue with placement for mom and dad in a nursing home either. They got to get it done. And Autumn is our placement angel. She's working hard today, and she helps families with placement because there are a lot of enhanced protocols that we do have to do, and I wouldn't pretend to know what those are. That's what Autumn deals with for placement because it can be very difficult.
Yeah, you probably gathered by now what you do at Elder Advisors. Very comprehensive. There's a lot of moving parts, and you guys, as you said, peace of mind is what it's all about, Steve. So I'm going to ask you on a personal note. Yeah. How's your mother doing?
My mother is doing remarkably well. It started, and thank you for asking, it started with a UTI. And all too often, I will say in this example, my mom was the exception. It was very tenuous at best. That's a medical term, not a financial term.
Or legal.
I'm not an attorney.
No.
But it was very tentative for a while. I thought, Mom's going to rehab because she got a kidney infection, and she wasn't drinking enough water. Basically, hey, drink your water, people. So I have a lady coming in now once a week to check on mom and dad. Dad, they're doing fine, but mom is drinking plenty of water now. She drinks her little Ensure and Pedialyte, so it's fluids we need, fluids to get the kidneys going and stuff. And she really came back. I'm quite amazed by that because I thought I'm going to have to do a placement for my mother. But all too often, when the folks have a UTI, either a male or a female, it ends up, degenerating into long-term care issues because they may have had other issues as well. So for now, we're in pretty good shape. But people drink your water every day. It's really important.
Yeah,
it
and
really is.
If anyone knows, how important it is also to be proactive, too, is to get ahead of this, okay? And that's what the workshops are all
Absolutely.
about. Let's talk about some of the topics that will be discussed. You mentioned power of attorney and the importance of that. Other legal matters. There's also real estate that you can discuss. Should I sell mom's home? What to expect. Placement, you mentioned.
Well, and on the real estate, and once again, John Ramsey, this is why you were Kentuckiana's most insightful personality for television in Kentuckiana. Is there any other place other than Wave 3? I think not. So in any event, 5.38 acres. And what I mean by that is I've been working with the family because at the workshop we talk about 3 levels of estate planning. Crisis planning, the house is burning down, mom's going into the nursing home, we're going through $10,000 a month, we can help. The second variable is pre-crisis planning, which is kind of where my mom was starting to head, which is we've got someone at home, we're getting some home therapy, we need to start doing some things. Or the other variable is pre-planning. Let's just avoid some problems from happening. Well, Karen and Todd from outside the city limits of Louisville, we started working on Karen's mother, which is a nursing home concern. We're protecting the assets. So I met him about a week and a half ago, and because of their distance and time, we were there till about 6 o'clock, and I'm ready to go. And we wrapped up on the crisis plan, getting stuff together that I know the law firm will need because I'm not an attorney. And so we're getting everything together. And then Todd suddenly says, well, wait, I want to talk. Kind of like Columbo. Obviously, if you be a certain age, Inspector.
One more thing.
Right, one more thing.
I don't mean to bother you.
Right, I don't mean to bother you. But what about my mom? I said, what about my mom? He said, well, we were at the workshop. I heard Mr. Langdon talk about probate and so forth. So with that, I'm going to segue back to Steve because I'm not an attorney.
Right. Nursing homes, it could very possibly happen. When it does, it's a hard situation. It's a bad time. That's why you need our help. But there's the other thing that says absolute certainty, and that is we're at some point all going to pass, and we got to decide ahead of time how easy do we want to make it on the folks that we leave behind. For me, I have 4 children. Karen and I want to make it as easy as possible for our 4 children. I don't want them going through probate. That's where you got to take that will down to the courthouse. You're going to spend about a year there. Could be more, could be a little less, but it's going to be about a year to make sure that will gets pushed through the system so that you can finally distribute mom and dad's property. I don't want that for my kids. I don't want them to pay an attorney to go down there. I don't want them to spend a year down there at the courthouse. So I've arranged to do some pre-planning to be able to help do a couple things. One, avoid probate, but two, prepare for the eventuality that Karen or I are incapacitated and we need that nursing home care. Because we've already placed our kids in a position that if they need to step in and take charge, they can.
You've said something interesting there that I think is important that elder advisors can help you accomplish. You said Karen or I. Mm-hmm. So rules are a little bit different if one goes into a nursing home and the other one's fine, or if both go into nursing. Talk a little bit about that, Larry.
Well, yeah, so for husband and wife, we can protect all the assets, and for a single person, about half. But in both of those cases, for me to be able to do what I'm doing financially, because I'm not an attorney doing the legal, I don't do that. I do the financial. I need the building blocks found in Steve's documents. And Steve's power of attorney is 6 pages. And it's very extensive, and it pretty much covers all the little issues and nuances that we need when we're dealing with out-of-state insurance companies, out-of-state investment companies, or even local banks. So Steve's documents have that language because we've been doing this long enough. We kind of know what they want, so we try to anticipate as best we can.
Because they don't always want to cooperate.
No, they hardly ever do.
Yeah, the life insurance companies or these banks and so forth, they don't always want to cooperate. They don't want to release the funds that mom and dad had saved over a lifetime so that we can preserve them. They want to hold on to those. So oftentimes we have to use the documents that I create to force it to happen.
When folks go to your workshop, and I encourage you to do so, we'll put the information on the screen. When they do that, do a lot of them leave with a sense of relief? And I would imagine there's some of them that say, okay, mine's a little bit more personal. I don't want to do it in a public format, so let's meet one-on-one.
Well, let's talk about Jimmy. Last month's workshop in October, at the end of the workshop, we make ourselves available for free 1-hour consultations where Mr. Langdon is available and I'm as well. Usually 1 or 2 of my team is there as well. So we were scheduling for the following week. And Jimmy and his wife, they said, we can't wait a week. We don't have the luxury of waiting a week because his mom's in the nursing home. He has a disabled brother. They're worried about the house. So I looked at my phone, and I got him in the next morning at 9 a.m., and I was literally texting him before I came over here because my office manager has some questions for him on the file. So she's been calling him at 4:30 today. We got the financials correct, so they're done there, but we still have to get a lot of the ancillary documents, stuff that the law firm will need. But to do that, we always need the power of attorney. He had one, fortunately, but a lot of times people don't. It's just amazing.
Don't go through $6,000 to $10,000 a month. Yeah, elder advisors, don't go broke in a nursing home. That's the slogan, but it's real. Again, the workshops. Larry, invite everyone. It is free.
Kentucky, and it's not just free, but it's also good news, and it's a little fun, too. It's not going to be a boring watching paint dry hour and a half. It's going to be fast-paced. It's going to be fun. So come out Monday night, 6 o'clock at the Hilton Garden Inn in Louisville, right off I-65, exit 132. Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. at the Hampton Inn on Broadway in Clarksville, right off Veterans Parkway. It is good news. Go to freeworkshop.com and register, or you can always call the marquee name, baby. It says it all. 855-LARRY-55. No preamble. 855-LARRY-55.
Larry, thank you very much. Steve, thank you very much as well. And coming up here, we talk a lot about bourbon and what it does for the economy of Louisville, what it does for the taste buds.